If you want it bad enough, you'll do 3 hours of cardio a day.
Greg is going to have a field day with this one. This is so easy. You guys set me up with friggin' alley-oops and the slam, reverse slam, 360 on the chair. Slam! Coach Greg, in today's video, Larry Wheels, he's calling me out. Greg Doucette gonna respond faster than last time. YouTube fitness beef has never and will never stop. You guys just gave Greg 15 years worth of content. They thought they had me by the balls. Oh, we got Greg now. He suggested 3 hours of cardio. But wait till you see what I say in response, and so get out your popcorn. Are you ready?
I have a 25-year career in coaching.
Okay, start to yap. Let me know when the yapping stops.
We are here at One Gen Gym in Claremont, and sitting beside me is my coach and partner, Ryan Benson with Team Zero Gravity.
And so, foreshadowing, coach and partner. Do you think maybe at the end of this video, they're going to have an ad? Perhaps for coaching, an app I dare ad? Let's see. Obviously they are.
Today we're going to talk about my bodybuilding show experience, and more notably, what Greg Doucette, or is it Doucette?
It's douchebag, get it right! Also known as Hobbit, Manlet, and all-around snake oil salesman.
That doesn't matter.
It's Doucette, though. If you were playing serious, it's Doucette. It's an Acadian name because I'm français. Oui, je parle français.
What Greg Doucette was saying about cardio when I was in preparation for my show. If you want it bad enough, you'll do 3 hours of cardio a day.
And so let's read what I actually said. And first of all, let me announce this. Larry Wheels began his prep at over 270 pounds and had to get down to 224. That's a big number. Let's think about how much that is. It's 46 pounds. And he had to lose that in about 6, 7, 8 weeks, I can't remember. And after the first month, he'd gotten down to 248 pounds. And so he'd already lost 22 pounds in a month. And so in the next 4 weeks, he had to go from 248, already on a hard cut, doing 45 minutes of cardio, only having 125 grams of carbs, meaning his glycogen levels were low. And so where was the weight going to come from? The guy was 248 to make 224, 24 pounds, or he could not compete. Remember, he's in classic physique. He can't just weigh what he wants. And so, in my opinion, he had too much muscle. He had to lose muscle in order to make his weight class. Now, obviously, the more fat you lose, the better. But if you don't make the weight class, it has to come from somewhere. And so I'd rather see him do 3 hours of cardio than be forced to abuse diuretics in order to make that weight. The most cardio I've had anyone do is 3 to 4 hours a day. For the last 2 weeks, she won her IFBB Pro card in women's physique. And so Eva Dunbar, shout out to you. Hardest worker I've ever coached. She was doing 20 plus hours the last week to make it to her stage. And guess what happened? She won her IFBB Pro card. And why did she have to do that much cardio? Well, because she was behind. And so if you want it bad it, you will do it. Also, Sebastian Burton, congrats on your pro card. Did you know that when Sebastian was being coached by me, he was 2 weeks out, says, I want to win. I said, you're not lean enough. I don't see strided glutes. You need to get way leaner if you're going to win the overall. I'll do anything, all right? 3 hours of cardio. You did it for 2 weeks. Guess what? He won the overall most shredded guy on stage. And so sometimes you do what it takes. And remember, Larry Wheels, last time I checked, not natty. And so if you're on anabolics, performance-enhancing drugs, do you not think you can get away with going for an extra walk? Does it look that hard? Look at my fingers. Very easy to walk around. But no, Coach Greg is a horrible coach. He doesn't know what he's doing. Let's hire us, get our app, because you won't have to do cardio and you'll look like Larry Wheels. Really?
If you want it bad enough, you'll do 3 hours of cardio a day.
Coach laughed with his little belly and breathing heavily. 3 hours of cardio a day.
Let's talk about this 3 hours of cardio thing. I would never in my entire career have anybody do 3 hours of cardio.
And so what would you have them do instead? They're 2 weeks from a show. They're 20 plus pounds away from their weight. What would you do? Aside from saying, hey, guess what? Probably shouldn't compete. You're not ready. So what I would do, I would say, hey, you're not ready. And so when you were coaching Larry to do the show and he started at 270 and his weight cap was 224, I would have said, Larry, you don't got enough time. There's no way you can make it. You need to peak at a different show. But no, let's get him ready. Now, remember, and so I just want to throw this in. Larry thought he had to make 224. When he wrote me in private and I helped him in private, now they're talking about the private discussion, he said he had to make 224. But lo and behold, did you know this? They heighted him in and he made it 1 inch taller. And with that extra inch, he was allowed to weigh 8 pounds more. And so his weight cap then became 232 pounds. And so had it been the original 224, he wouldn't have made it. And so what is the lesser of two evils? Doing 3 hours of cardio or abusing the shit out of diuretics to lose 20 plus pounds of water to make the weight class. But Coach Greg is a bad coach.
I have a 25-year career in coaching.
Okay, start the yap. Let me know when the yapping stops. Let's time this.
That I would never put somebody in 3 hours of cardio. Reason number one is, who has 3 hours extra to do cardio?
Every single person who wants to win an IB program, all of them, who has 3 hours? They have the whole day, 24 of them. Pick which one you want. Who has 3 hours?
And if you ever want to discourage somebody from wanting to get into a sport like bodybuilding, tell them they have to do 3 hours of cardio.
And so some of us like cardio. Oh, I can't handle it. You have to do 18,000 steps a day. And so I guess no one wants to be a mailman. They must be paid $1 billion a year because who would ever want to walk delivering the mail? And remember, last I checked, Larry is not a first-time competitor. Would I have said the same thing to somebody who would have DM'd me and say, hey, it's my first show and I'm 248 pounds? Would I have said to do 3 hours of cardio, or would I have said, hey, don't compete in classic, compete in open bodybuilding? You won't have to worry about your weight class. Compete in the super heavyweight division. Done. Keep doing what you're doing. This is private advice that I'm giving Larry Wheels because I cared. I wanted him to do great. I wanted him to get that elusive pro card. And Larry is a 1 in a million specimen, perhaps 1 in a billion. And so if Larry can't handle 3 hours cardio, then who can?
Let's just put it this way. We're not marathon runners.
Didn't ask him to run a marathon, told him he had to do 3 hours of cardio. Could have been a walk.
We are bodybuilders, right? Remember that part of the title, builders.
All right, Larry is a bodybuilder, but was he competing in bodybuilding or was he competing in classic physique? Was he competing in bodybuilding or classic physique? Classic physique has a weight cap, 224 for his height. Seeing as he started his prep at 270 weeks, perhaps 2 months before the show, he had to make it down to 224. And so what did he have to do? He had to lose muscle. Now remember, if I were coaching Larry Wheels, and last I checked, did he win the show? Did he win? Oh, let me yap about how many accolades, how many guys I have in the Olympia. Did he win? He got second. Did I coach him? If I'd coached him, would he have perhaps won? Maybe. We don't know. We don't know now, do we? When I have a competitor that has too much muscle for the weight class, let's go with Joe Elves. Joe Elves, who was coached by Chris Aceto 3 straight competitions. Never made it past the top 3. Hired Coach Greg, and what happened? First time pro card. Why? Because he lost 10 extra pounds. How? Extra cardio and less drugs. Yeah, I said it. Less drugs. And so Larry Wheels at 270 pounds, if he's trying to make 224, should he be on more or less tren? More or less. Last I checked, when you're trying to lose perhaps 50 pounds in a matter of weeks, you need less drugs. The more drugs you take, the more muscle you're going to build. And so as coach, I would reduce the doses. You were too big, Larry. Why are you 270 pounds? That is too big to make your weight class. Chris Bumstead off season 260. His weight cap 240. Your 270 weight cap 224. It's not possible. You have too much muscle to make that weight class. And so we need to make you smaller. And so in the offseason, I never would have let him get to 270 pounds in the first place. And remember this, let's just go there right now. How much weight did Larry Wheels gain 3 days after the show? He was 55 pounds above his weight cap. In the first 3 days, do you know how dangerous that is? I spoke of the dangers, the high blood pressure, the edema. I went over everything. I warned people, don't copy Larry. It's not healthy, it's not safe. And why do you think that happened? Because he starved him to do this competition. And even the great Larry Wheels, 1 in a million genetics, not even he could control his hunger cravings. Once that ghrelin rose after the competition, he couldn't say no. The floodgates open and he couldn't shut them down.
Not body destroyers.
But yet you needed to body destroy. He was 270, got down to 248, great job, but he still had to get down to 224, 24 pounds. Let's do some quick math for those of you interested. 20 minutes later, and so he has 24 pounds to go. Let's say he loses 10 pounds of water. 10 pounds of water from Diuretics. He still has to lose 14 pounds. He has to burn off 49,000 calories to burn off 14 pounds of fat in 4 weeks. And so that's equal to 12,250 calories per week. And so 1,750 calorie deficit per day. Do you know how he could do that deficit? 3 hours of cardio. I mean, I hate to be the one that did the math, but with 3 hours of cardio, he could burn off 1,750 calories. Larry's a big guy, going for a fast walk. He's going to burn up many calories. And so at the end, he would be 10 pounds over his weight, 234 pounds, and he would then cut 10 pounds from using diuretics. Still a lot. Not saying all you guys don't, 10 pounds, you'd kill him in diuretics. No, I don't want you to say this. But what I'm saying is that is at least a realistic goal. But without the cardio, how is he getting this deficit? To stop eating? Well, I guess he could do that. And so is it better to eat 0 calories and just lose all that muscle, or to eat some food and have a life?
What we're trying to do as a bodybuilder is build muscle. And building muscle is such a difficult, slow, and tedious process, right?
Yeah, if you're natural. Is Larry natural? And so let me ask you this, coach. If you have a natural athlete, he's never touched steroids in his life, and he takes steroids for 12 months, is it going to be very difficult to put on muscle? Let's call it 5 pounds. I don't think so. Now, if that athlete has 10 pounds too much muscle, does he now have to worry about doing too much cardio or he's going to just wither away? Because the guy has too much muscle, he's trying to downsize. And so imagine if you had an IFBB pro bodybuilder female, jacked. She says, I want to compete in bikini in 3 months. What are you going to have them do? Probably eat less, perhaps less protein, probably not work out and do cardio. Larry was too big, he should be doing cardio.
Would take you a good year of hard training to put on a good 5 pounds of quality muscle in a year.
Did Larry need to put on 5 pounds of muscle? He was 248 and a month out from competition where he had to weigh in at 224. And the only reason he was able to compete is because he heighted in 1 inch taller. If he didn't have that 1 inch advantage, that was 8 pounds, would he have made 224? I'm asking you.
To lose 5 pounds of muscle, go ahead and do 3 hours of cardio for about 2 weeks, and that 5 pounds of muscle is gone.
You can tell which one of us has gone to school. And so he yapped and yapped and yapped. How many people he coached? Which one of us is a master's in kinesiology? You will not lose 5 pounds of quality, hard, lean tissue in 2 weeks from doing 3 hours of walking around. You could race hard on a bike for 3 hours, and in 2 weeks, you're not losing all that muscle. Once you've accrued that much muscle, especially while being natural, it stays with you for a long time, and it's very hard to tear it down. And so in 2 weeks, there's no way you're burning off 5 pounds of muscle. But even if you did, it would have helped him. He was so far above his weight class, it would have helped him. I'd rather see him lose 5 pounds of muscle and not have to dehydrate himself 15 pounds in order to make that weight class. And so which do you think is healthier?
For every pound of muscle that you lose or increase, it requires about 50 calories per day to sustain that pound of muscle.
Again, wrong. Again, wrong. For every pound of muscle that you have, it requires 50 calories to sustain that. Not even close to the truth. What is the truth? 8 calories per pound. Do the math, do the research. You guys think this guy knows more than Coach Greg? Really? You think that he does? Just because he coaches Larry Wheels, who's far more gifted than Coach Greg, doesn't mean he knows more about coaching. And so, yeah, it's more than just the 8 calories to sustain that muscle. If you use that extra muscle and you do harder cardio, you lift heavier weights, you could perhaps burn maybe even 20 calories, but it's not 50. Let's do some quick math. Larry Wheels has 100 pounds more muscle than most women that I know. How much muscle do you think Larry Wheels has? We have 2 women in the house. So the crew in the house, they're saying Larry Wheels has 100 pounds more muscle than the average person. We're just doing some quick math to make it easy. And so if either of us put on 100 pounds times 50 calories per pound, what is that? It's 5,000 calories. What's your maintenance? Do you think that Larry Wheels' maintenance calories is 7,000 calories a day just to maintain his weight? How many of you out there think Larry Wheels eats 7,000 calories a day to maintain his weight? Well, we can go with Derek Lunsford. Derek Lunsford is 255 pounds, eats 3,500 calories a day. Derek Lunsford has 100 pounds more muscle than the average woman. 100 times 50, it's 5,000. Average woman, let's say they eat 1,500 calories plus 5,000, 6,500 calories. Derek Lunsford would then need 6,500 calories to maintain his weight at 255 pounds. But we know for certain that is not the truth. And so what we just did is we just exposed Larry Wheels' coach. They thought they'd come after me. Oh my goodness, we got Coach Greg. Do you really think this guy knows more than me? I've coached just as long as this guy, and I've done the research. He just said every pound of muscle, you need 50 extra calories. It's 8. It's not 50, it's 8. If it was 50, then I'd be telling everyone the secret to being shredded is to having more muscle. If you add 10 pounds of muscle, that up your metabolism by 500 calories a day. But it's not true. You up your muscle by 10 pounds, you hardly even notice it. Oh. Man, oh man. Oiled up before GTA 6? God.
Now, we talked about this with your prep. It's not the typical way that we would want to do a prep for somebody because you had a weight requirement.
Hence why Coach Greg said he needs to do 3 hours of cardio a day, full stop. Can end the video here.
So that weight requirement limited us. We had to do things and we had to lose muscle.
Yeah, like doing 3 hours of cardio. He just said it himself. We had to do things. We had to lose muscle in order to make that weight class. I mean, where am I wrong here?
But we're trying to, especially with someone like your physique, we had just put on a lot of muscle in your legs. And we want to preserve as much of that muscle as possible.
And so we just put on more muscle, of which now we have to lose it. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. With the weight cap, you can't just put muscle where you want. But the last time I competed in classic physique, they said you need more muscle in your chest, your arms, your shoulders. I'm like, how do I do that? I'm literally dying to make the weight class. I stood on the scale. I almost fell over, nearly passed out. I dehydrated 12 pounds to make the weight cap. 185. You're not big enough. Sorry, I can't lengthen my legs. I can't be taller.
In what world does it make sense for you to go ahead and burn all that off by doing 3 hours of cardio?
In the world where you have a weight class and you can't make that weight class without losing that muscle. In that world, the one that you guys are in.
During that 3 hours of cardio, how many calories could you possibly be burning?
Let's do the math. He's 248, divide by 154, 161 calories per mile, times, let's say, 4 miles an hour, be a fast walk. And so 644 calories. And so he could burn off about 644 calories per mile walking briskly. Times by 3, just over 1,900 calories. And so how many did I say he needed to burn? Was 1,850? And so the math checks out.
So you're talking about burning 1,500 calories. But at the expense of losing muscle from doing all that cardio.
Oh, you're going to lose so much calories walking around. And so I'm delivering the mail. And so because I walked for 3 hours, I just tore off all of my muscles. What's next? Sitting up is too hard. Where do we draw the line? Walking burns off all that muscle. What about standing up? Am I losing all my muscles right now from standing up? What about sitting? Do I now need to lay down on the floor? Do I need to remain in a coma? Unless I'm heavily sedated, do I then burn off calories? Oh, better have somebody feed you. Somebody feed me. I don't want to burn off my muscles from putting the spoon in my freaking mouth.
I would rather, in my approach, would rather look at somebody and say, where can we find extra calories to eliminate in the diet?
And so in his approach, I'd rather just starve them. I'd rather eat nothing. You have to lose 24 pounds in a matter of weeks? Don't eat. Hey, that works too. I'm not saying you can't lose weight by not eating anything. Obviously you can. I just think it's better to do the cardio because 90% of the calories that are being burned off are fat. If you just don't eat, you're going to be starving, you're going to be hungry all the time, and you're not going to burn off as much body fat. And remember, there's 3 things you need in order to build muscle. You need energy, you need protein, and you need water. Also, stimulus for muscle protein synthesis to occur. But if you're not eating enough, you don't have the energy, you're not eating enough protein, then how are you building that muscle? You're not. And guess what you're doing? You're now losing it. And so if you go in a great calorie deficit, you're actually going to lose more muscle than if you're doing cardio. Don't believe me? Well, you don't have to. You can believe Larry Wheels' coach.
I listened to Greg. I want to get lean. And I'm doing an hour of cardio, right? 3 hours of cardio. And I just burned off 1,500 calories.
Coach Greg never said to do 3 hours of cardio a day, only in desperate measures when the coach didn't get the athlete to be prepared early enough. And so, for example, in Larry's case, he had to lose 24 pounds. Or in my two cases with Sebastian and Eva, they weren't as lean as they should have been 2 weeks out from the competition. And I said, hey, how bad do you want it? Now, if they'd cheated on their diets prior, they weren't lean enough, and they really wanted to win, they have two choices. They can either do the work or not. Do the work or not. You don't have to do it. You can back out of the competition. You can compete at a later date. But if you're 2 weeks out and you're not lean enough, you have to be able to put in the work.
You know, he was saying also that like your carbs were too low.
Never said his carbs were too low. Well, I asked that specific question because the more carbs you have, the more water you're storing in form of muscle glycogen. And so when it comes down to getting dehydrated, if you're on a higher carb diet, you're going to be able to lose more water. And so, for example, my carb intake is very high right now. And so if I had to cut 10 or 15 pounds in a day, it'd be easy. I weighed 187 pounds this morning. If somebody said, you have to weigh 177 pounds by tomorrow, I could do it. Why? Because I have a lot of carbs. I stop eating carbs. I'm going to start peeing out all that water. I'm going to flatten out and lose all that muscle glycogen. But if I'm already on a low carb diet, for example, if I'm on keto, I'm already flat. I already don't have that muscle glycogen. And so I have less water that my body's able to lose. Is it making sense now? I mean, if you want to ask questions to Coach Greg, I could educate you. I'm willing to do that. I like helping people. And so why not get the facts correct? It didn't say he's not eating enough carbs. I said you're on a low carb diet, therefore you have less water retention in your body and it's going to be harder to make weight.
Why not just eliminate the 1,500 calories?
He was already starving himself. He couldn't just cut out 1,500 more calories. By the way, it's 1,850. But when you're on a roughly 2,000 calorie diet, and you cut out 1,850, you're left with 150 calories. That's about what, 42 grams of protein? It's not enough.
You still have enough fats in your diet to sustain muscle, and we have the minimal amount of carbs, but enough to sustain the muscle density that we already have.
You need energy to sustain muscle as well as to build it. Remember, 3 main things: water, protein, energy. Just because you're getting in 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, just because you're drinking water, if you're not eating enough calories, you're not building muscle. What good is having the hammer, the nails, and the wood if there are no workers there to put the pieces together? Are you getting it?
He's telling you, increase your calories. Well, if I eat 500 calories but then do an hour cardio to burn those 500 calories. What did I do? It's just a wash.
You can't just burn off 500 calories more and not do anything to your diet. If you do, you're going to suffer. You do need to have some carbohydrates to have that energy. Now, some people are going to debate me and say, no, I function fine on a keto diet. Yeah, 5% of people, no problem. But for most people, they do in fact need a little bit more carbs, a little bit more calories when they're doing hours and hours of cardio a day.
My personal opinion on this whole thing was, blew my mind actually that somebody had that approach in the first place when I heard it.
It blew my mind when you thought Larry Wheels could lose 24 pounds in a matter of weeks. And guess what? He didn't. The only reason he made his weight class is because he hid it in an inch taller. Did you tell them that? He actually had to weigh 232. And so I gave him, in secret, behind closed doors, free advice. This was not to make a video. And so you start trying to out me, to try to make me look bad, and for what? To sell your app. That's what this was about. Coach Greg is so stupid. He thinks that doing 3 hours of cardio is needed. Imagine how dumb he is. Meanwhile, Larry Wheels and I are talking in private. I'm giving him free, unsolicited advice at no charge. We're just chatting as bros. And you then come and try to embarrass me, try to make it look like I suggest everyone does 3 hours of cardio a day. Did nothing of the sorts.
The one thing that you can't replace, there's a lot of people out there with a lot of degrees, but at what point have you ever put this into kind of any practical application?
Yeah, I haven't done it. My physique looks horrible. I'm 48 years of age, and I'm being compared to this guy. Yeah, I went there. Here's your coach, and this is Coach Greg. But my methods don't work. I don't know anything. I just have a master's in kinesiology, and what good is that? He has Olympians. Okay, bro. My methods don't work, you win.
Different bodybuilders, different divisions, male, female, figure, men's physique, bodybuilding, being able to bring everybody to that same common goal, to get them all to the summit of bodybuilding, which is the Olympia.
And yet Larry Wheels, who's a 1 in a million specimen, couldn't even get him his pro card. Yeah, I went there. I'm digging dirty. Larry Wheels, the specimen, Larry Wheels doesn't have a pro card under your watch. How is this possible? I've had 200 Olympians. 7 is the worst I've ever had in 1 year. But yet I couldn't help Larry. Bro, it's making you look bad. If I was Larry, I'd be thinking, every second guy you coach is an Olympian. You couldn't even get me to win a pro card. What's wrong with you? Perhaps maybe I should have listened to Coach Greg.
If I was a runway model who wanted to still live a normal life and just stay super skinny, then yes, it would make sense.
And so there's no world where it would ever make sense. Yet back in the 90s and 2000s, we had IFBB pro bodybuilders consistently, routinely doing 2 hours plus a cardio day. Did you not follow this time? I'm 48. Perhaps you guys are young. Maybe you're only 30. I don't know. I'm 48. I remember IFBB pro bodybuilders competing Olympia stage. These guys were doing 2+ hours of cardio a day. Why? Because it works. It's slow, steady state, zone 2, perhaps even zone 1. Easy cardio. Not the kind of cardio that's going to tear down your muscle. I'm not talking about running. Not talking about cardio where you're getting sore. It's just walking. I'm not saying he needed to do HIIT cardio for hours and hours on end, but I am saying that Larry Wheels was way out of shape, too far out. He had to lose 24 pounds, and to do that, 3 hours of cardio, that would have helped more often than last time.
I think that nowhere in the world would that be beneficial.
And so let's say to win the competition, you need to be at 5% body fat. You need to be shredded. And you're currently at 8%. You need to lose 3% body fat in 2 weeks. Would doing 3-4 hours of cardio a day not get you there faster? Remember, you're burning 90% of those calories as fat. Would it not be faster? Would it not at least give you a fighting chance? Now remember, you should have dieted longer. Should have started to prep at 16 weeks out rather than 12. But no, there's never a time ever that I would ever suggest cardio ever to get shredded for competition. Really, if Chris Bumstead were to call me up this year and said, Coach Greg, I'm 260 pounds and I'm competing in 2 weeks. I need to weigh 242. I just didn't diet hard enough. I'm at 8%. What do? I'd say, Chris, 4 hours of cardio a day. But yet, nope, there's never a time that would work. He would just say, Chris, just don't eat. Well, I think that doing 4 hours of walking a day would be beneficial. Maybe even 6 hours. Maybe even I'd tell him to walk 10 hours in one day and 8 hours back and do something for 3 seconds. But hey, there's never a time that could work.
So if you're tired of being confused, please sign up to our waiting list for our new training and nutritional app.
A waiting list for an app? Oh, at the end of tearing Coach Greg apart. Oh, well, wow. I never saw that coming. I'm literally 15 years old and understand Greg's approach. It's much easier to eat 2,000 calories per day and do some cardio than to eat 1,000 calories and not do any cardio. You will sustain the muscle either way because you're eating more. Greg's approach is just a more sustainable way to get next level shredded for a show. I feel like what Greg said is being taken too literal and out of context. Simply put, I think he was referencing if your conditioning isn't on point and it's crunch time, like a last-ditch effort, but good information here nonetheless. And so thankfully, the people in the comment section, they understood what I was saying. Larry Wheels had 24 pounds to lose. He didn't have to worry about losing muscle. He didn't have to worry about that. He had to worry about losing weight. And what is a great way to lose weight for Larry Wheels in this specific circumstance? Doing a shit ton of cardio. Larry's coach is so dumb, it's unbelievable. 126 likes. Remember, this is on their channel, not mine. This is their channel. They like them. These are their fans saying dumb. I didn't say it, he did. But I agree with it. By the labored speaking, I'm not sure Larry's trainer could do 1 hour of cardio without a visit to the hospital, to be honest. And so perhaps a little biased. Oh my God, 3 hours of cardio? Well, I physically can't walk for 3 hours. I could never be a mailman. Sorry, mailman, I hope I'm not picking on you too much today. Not like that guy from Bangladesh. Remember that guy? Greg just recorded a 20-part series response.
Literally.
Just the 1 pound adds 50 calories per day. Just that alone I could make a video on. Somehow an Olympian level trainer doesn't understand low intensity cardio was mandatory for every legendary pro bodybuilder in the 90s. How many minutes ago did I just talk about that? But Coach Greg doesn't know anything. What part of 3 hours do you not understand? There is no such thing as a low level cardio when it's 3 hours. Get back to playing video games. I could literally walk in circles around this room for 13 hours straight, and my heart rate would stay under 100. And so that is low-level cardio. It's called Zone 1. Very easy recovery cardio. In the Tour de France, on their days off after racing for 6 hours, do you know what they do? They go for a 2 or 3 hour bike ride. Zone 1 cardio, easy recovery. And you know why they do that? Because if they don't do that, they cramp up, they seize up, and they actually go slower the next day. And so, yeah, you can in fact do 3 hours of cardio, and it's easy. It's called Zone 1, and it's for recovery. Every advanced cyclist, triathlete, anyone that knows anything about cardio would know this, but not you. Because you're in the comments section. Greg is going to have a field day with this one. This is so easy. You guys set me up with friggin' alley-oops and the slam, reverse slam, 360 on the chair. Slam! Greg Doucette is annoying, but he definitely isn't wrong. His beliefs are proven. I mean, even the people that hate me know I'm right. Honestly, very weak arguments. The 3 hours of cardio thing isn't being recommended at random to everyone or as a long-term sustainable way to exercise. It was specifically to someone a few weeks out from a pro bodybuilding show. Losing a tiny amount of muscle is necessary to get to level of leanness required to have a chance at a show. And these are guys in the comment section. They're not experts. For all I know, they got this information on TikTok and even they didn't understand it. Larry's coach has made it very clear that he's a drug pusher and has no idea about modern training and nutrition. I mean, clearly. Oh, can't do cardio. I know, drugs. Remember, he didn't mention anything about the drugs. Remember, he had to lose 24 pounds in a matter of weeks? Oh, no, let's not do anything. I certainly hope he's not getting guys to use DNP, and hopefully they don't demonetize this video. You ever heard about DNP? Burns a lot of calories. I don't want people using it. And so, no, let's discourage all that cardio. Perhaps they're using DNP. Well, you had to compensate with hella drugs to get shredded, plus Lasix, and needed to sauna and hit car. I think Greg is saying to do more cardio rather than drugs. But Coach Greg is such a bad person. I mean, heavens forbid, he encourages people to do 3 hours of cardio in desperation to get shredded rather than abusing diuretics and taking dangerous drugs in order to make that weight class. But Coach Greg, he doesn't know anything. And so the comments, I can't keep reading them all. We could make a Netflix documentary about how stupid this video actually was. And so let me know in the comment section, should Larry Wheels have not just used GO2 Max and Turk Builder, especially GO2 Max? This is specifically to help your cardio. And so if you need to do 3 hours of cardio a day to get shredded for your competition, and you need that extra push, that extra motivation, the ability to keep going, and to feel energized, GO2 Max. And Larry, if you want me to send it to you for free, let me know in the DMs. I know your coach probably put you up to this, having you read out these DMs and so on. I know that you don't know that I know more than your coach. You've had his coach, he's your trusted friend and so on. But Coach Greg, he's actually smarter than he looks. I am much smarter than he looks. I don't look that smart. Trust me, I'm a lot smarter than I look. Let me know in the comments section, did I get owned? Did they show that I'm a moron? Does 3 hours of cardio a day, is that actually something that could benefit somebody in a pinch the last 2 weeks out of desperation, or nah? Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you like it. Don't forget to watch one of those 2 bloops. Of course, the cookbooks, the Circle Diet book. That's right, I wrote a freaking book, How to Lose Weight. Keep it off for the rest of your life. And if you got no money, get the free diet and training program. It's close to 50 pages. We've got calorie requirements for 1,500, 2,025. Pick your poison, pick the one that you need. And until next time, I am out.